The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Rachel Zegler's rise to fame should have been a fairy tale story. After all, landing the lead role in Disney's live-action Snow White is a dream come true for any actress. But what happens when that dream turns into a nightmare? Controversial casting decisions, dismissive comments about a beloved classic, and a growing divide between fans and the actress herself have turned Rachel into one of Hollywood's most polarizing figures. From accusations of pseudo-feminism to public outrage over her take on the iconic princess, it seems like every word she says adds fuel to the fire. But here's the real question: is Rachel Zegler sabotaging her own career, or is the backlash simply too harsh for anyone to survive? Keep watching as we dive into the controversies, from her role as Snow White to the mounting fan backlash that could jeopardize her future in Hollywood. Even before Rachel Zegler spoke a word about Snow White, her casting as the iconic princess sparked heated debates. Many fans of the original 1937 classic were quick to point out that Snow White's defining characteristic, her skin as white as snow, didn't align with Rachel's Latina heritage. Critics argued that the casting decision felt out of touch with the source material, igniting a cultural firestorm online. Conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh weighed in, with Shapiro calling the decision nonsensical. "The character's name is Snow White," he argued. "It's literally in the name. How can the actress not be pale white?" Walsh went even further, describing the choice as anti-white racism and cultural appropriation in reverse. Their remarks fueled the debate, dividing fans and critics alike. Amid the backlash, Rachel took to social media, expressing gratitude for her supporters, but drawing a firm line against her detractors. "Please don't tag me in the nonsensical discourse about my casting," she wrote, urging fans to focus on more meaningful discussions. Despite her attempt to defuse the situation, the controversy only gained traction, leaving Rachel caught in the crossfire of an increasingly polarized audience. It seemed like the uproar over her casting might fade, until Rachel's own words added a new layer of complexity to the debate.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Her remarks about the remake's modernized direction left fans divided, sparking debates over whether the changes honored the legacy of the original or strayed too far from its timeless appeal. Instead of the traditional fairy tale romance, Rachel explained that the character's focus would shift to independence and leadership. While some praised this updated take as empowering, others criticized it as unnecessary and accused Rachel of stripping away the heart of the beloved classic. The conversation exploded online, with critics labeling her perspective as pseudo-feminism, arguing that reinterpreting Snow White's story in this way diminished its universal charm. Adding fuel to the fire, Rachel admitted she had little connection to the original film, having watched it only once as a child because it frightened her. This revelation alienated fans who had hoped for a lead actress with a deep admiration for the source material. Instead of embracing the legacy, Rachel's comments came across as dismissive, leaving many questioning her passion for the role. As the promotional tour continued, Rachel's critiques extended to the prince's character, describing him in ways that some fans found disrespectful.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
While her intention was to highlight the film's modern approach, these remarks only deepened the controversy, with many accusing her of undermining the classic's charm in favor of a narrative that felt disconnected from its origins. The growing divide between Rachel and the audience became increasingly apparent, with each statement intensifying the backlash. What began as debates over casting had now evolved into a broader criticism of her attitude toward the cherished original, setting the stage for a much larger fallout. Rachel Zegler's promotional tour for Snow White only amplified the controversy surrounding her role. Fans who grew up cherishing the original film found her dismissive comments about its themes and characters increasingly difficult to ignore. During interviews, Rachel openly criticized the 1937 classic, describing it as outdated and full of problematic elements. She went as far as to joke about removing key aspects of the original story, including the prince, whom she called a stalker. The backlash intensified when Rachel claimed she wasn't a fan of the original film and had only watched it once as a child because it frightened her. "I think I watched it once and never picked it up again," she admitted, a statement that alienated devoted fans of Disney's first animated feature. Instead of expressing admiration for the groundbreaking work, Rachel highlighted what she saw as its flaws, signaling a clear disconnect between her vision and the audience's expectations. The most vocal criticism came from David Hand, the son of the original Snow White director, who expressed his disapproval in an interview. Hand condemned the changes to the story as unnecessary and offensive to the legacy of the film. "It's a whole different concept, and I just totally disagree with it," he said, adding that both his father and Walt Disney himself would be appalled by the modernization efforts. He further criticized the so-called woke changes, calling them an insult to the original creators and their work. For many fans, Rachel's attitude felt like a betrayal of the magic that had defined the original Snow White. They argued that an actress who openly disrespected the film and its legacy shouldn't have been cast in the iconic role. Calls to boycott the remake grew louder, with some fans suggesting that Rachel should have declined the role if she didn't respect the story. Her continued criticism of the original only deepened the divide, making it clear that her version of Snow White would be a polarizing departure from the classic tale. The controversy didn't just affect Rachel's reputation, it cast a shadow over the entire project, with many fans vowing not to watch the remake. But Rachel's comments weren't just damaging to her portrayal of Snow White, they also began to impact her involvement in other projects, leading to even more backlash.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
The fallout from Rachel Zegler's remarks about Snow White wasn't confined to the remake alone. Fans began to question her ability to handle legacy franchises, and calls to boycott her other projects quickly followed. Among them was her highly anticipated role in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where she portrayed Lucy Gray Baird, the lead character in the prequel to the beloved dystopian series. Fans of The Hunger Games were already skeptical about a reboot, fearing it would fail to live up to the original films. Rachel's involvement added fuel to the fire, with some fans accusing her of lacking respect for classic works. A tweet that gained significant traction read, "Boycott all Zegler's movies, including Hunger Games. She doesn't deserve to ruin another iconic franchise." The skepticism only deepened when Rachel revealed she had initially turned down the role of Lucy Gray Baird. During interviews, she admitted that she declined the opportunity because the filming location was too far from her loved ones. While her reasoning might have been understandable, fans viewed it as unprofessional, particularly when Rachel later lobbied to reclaim the role after her schedule unexpectedly cleared up. Her ability to secure the part again, despite other actresses being considered, was seen by many as a reflection of her privileged status in Hollywood, further souring her image. The growing backlash against Rachel's casting decisions and public statements cast a shadow over The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, with fans of the franchise divided over whether she was the right choice for the role. Some argued that her casting could tarnish the legacy of the Hunger Games series, much like her comments had alienated fans of Snow White. By this point, Rachel Zegler's name had become synonymous with controversy, and the growing resentment toward her extended far beyond Disney's remake. With each new statement or revelation, the gap between Rachel and her audience seemed to widen, putting her future in Hollywood on increasingly shaky ground. Yet the backlash didn't end there. Another wave of criticism came crashing down, as Rachel's comments about fair pay during the industry strikes added even more fuel to the fire. Rachel Zegler's reputation took another hit when her comments about fair pay during the ongoing Writers Guild of America and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists strikes sparked controversy. While many actors and writers voiced their support for the strikes, Rachel's remarks about her own compensation were seen as tone-deaf by fans and industry insiders alike. Speaking about her role in Disney's Snow White, Rachel stated, "If I'm going to stand there 18 hours a day in a dress as an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour it's streamed online." While her statement was likely intended to highlight the need for fair compensation in the streaming era, it struck a nerve with fans. Critics accused her of being entitled, with many pointing out that she had already been paid significantly more for her role than many of her peers in the cast. The backlash was swift, with social media users labeling her comments as rude and spoiled. Many argued that Rachel's words diminished the struggles of lesser-known actors and crew members who worked tirelessly for a fraction of the pay she received. This added to the growing perception that Rachel lacked self-awareness and was out of touch with the realities of the industry. The controversy over her strike comments became yet another example of how Rachel's public statements seemed to backfire, turning potential supporters into critics. What might have been an opportunity to unite fans around a shared cause instead further alienated her audience. As her career became increasingly defined by controversy, fans began to question whether Rachel could recover from the damage or if her words had permanently overshadowed her talent. With a string of missteps and mounting criticism, it seemed like the actress was digging herself into a deeper hole with each public appearance. And yet, the story of Rachel Zegler's career isn't over, leaving one lingering question. Can she turn things around, or has she burned too many bridges to recover?
Your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Rachel's journey in Hollywood has been far from smooth. From polarizing comments about Snow White to backlash surrounding her role in the Hunger Games prequel, her career has become defined by controversy. Fans of the original Disney classic felt betrayed by her dismissive tone, while remarks during industry strikes only added to the mounting criticism. Some believe she has the talent to recover and that these controversies will fade over time. Others argue that the damage is too great and her fractured relationship with fans may be irreparable. Is this the end of her rise to stardom, or just a difficult chapter in her career? Only time will tell. This story serves as a cautionary tale about the fragility of fame in the modern age. In a world where every statement is dissected and debated, one misstep can overshadow years of hard work. It highlights the fine line celebrities must walk between staying true to their vision and respecting the legacy of the stories they bring to life. As public scrutiny continues to grow, one thing is certain: her journey has left a lasting impression on Hollywood, for better or worse. Will she rebuild her image and silence the critics, or will her career remain a testament to the power of public opinion? What's your take? Is the backlash deserved, or has it been blown out of proportion? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive compelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Alright, show's over. Hungry for more twists? You know where to find us. Keep that popcorn hot, we'll handle the drama. Want to catch the next showdown in real time? Hit subscribe and buckle up.